Hello. It's December 17th today. We're near Schumann's Crossroads in Luxembourg near Belgium. Well, the Germans launched massive counter-offensive against our positions yesterday. We've been pushed back to here. I'm in the 110th Regiment of the 28th Infantry Division. We're spread pretty thin across the line here. I haven't got much cold winter gear, but we're dealing with the Germans as best as possible. There's more Germans coming, there's tanks everywhere. We've only got us and elements of the 9th Armoured. That's all there is defending against the Germans. I'll try to explain to you what I'm wearing at the moment. Now, following some really intense combat during the Battle of the Hurtgen Forest, the 28th Infantry Division was battered and they were sent to a quiet part of the front lines in order to recuperate and gain much needed replacements and a time of rest since they'd been in combat since July of 1944. Now, this place would have been along a thin stretched line in Luxembourg facing the Our River. This part of the front lines was fairly quiet and would remain so until December 16th, 1944. The German army launched their massive counter-offensive called Operation Watch on the Rhine, aimed straight at the lines of the 28th Infantry Division. And they fought hard but were pushed back from the Our River to the medieval town of Clerveaux, which was the headquarters of the 110th Infantry Regiment. Men fought hard there inside the castle. Some of them were trapped inside for several days, while the majority of the unit were either captured or had fallen back and been scattered by German advances. The 28th began to operate as smaller, uncoordinated units as opposed to a large division, with elements of the 110th Regiment finding themselves near the area of Schumann's Eck, a vital crossroads between the town of Wiltz and Bastogne. Now, it's vital that they defend this place, and the 28th fought really hard there, particularly elements of the 110th Regiment, and they suffered heavy casualties, but they slowed down the German advance greatly. Starting at the top, I have my M1 helmet. This helmet has the M44 helmet net, also known as the helmet net with band. This is the band. It's not the correct type, this one's grey. I need to get an olive green one. The band would usually be attached to the helmet net by a tie. However, you see some soldiers removing it. For the 28th Division, the helmet net with band or the 44 net was very common. You see lots of photos, and the band is usually worn with it as well. Moving down, I have my wool shirt. I have some thermal underwear, long johns underneath it. On top of this, I have my M41 jacket. Now, the M41 jacket's a summer jacket. It's not very warm. It's what they would have used in Normandy. However, you see soldiers wearing other stuff like tanker jackets, jeep coats, wool overcoats, sweaters, you name it. You see lots of photos of the collars turned up at the back because it's quite cold to protect the back of your neck from the cold, from the wind, from the rain and the snow. Then I have my gas mask bag. This is what soldiers would have kept their belongings in. Notice my haversack is gone. This is more practical to carry your belongings in. You ditch the gas mask, everything you need can go in there, and it's easy to get stuff out of, unlike the haversack. Then moving on to my webbing, I have a pistol belt with an M1 ammo pouch for the M1 carbine. I have my entrenching tool here. Around the back is my canteen and cover with cup inside. And on this side I have my first aid pouch. And I have a second M1 ammo pouch for the carbine here. At this stage of the war, you see a real mix of helmet nets, webbing, jackets, everything. There's a real mix of all sorts of equipment. At this stage of the war, supplies were quite hard to get hold of. So soldiers had to hang on to old gear. They had to rely on stuff they'd had before. Some of them had new items. You see the winter overshoes or shoe packs, boots, become quite common for the 28th as well. And note the lack of gloves, scarf, because they weren't very well supplied. Now, moving down, I have my wool trousers. These are very common for infantrymen. I've got my wool long johns underneath this to keep me warmer. Then down at the bottom I have my service shoes with gaiters. Now at this point, rough out boots would have been a lot more common, perhaps double buckle boots as well, or even, as I mentioned, shoe pack boots or winter overshoes are also seen. However, I don't have any of those, unfortunately, so I'm currently using my gaiters and service shoes. You do see these around. They're not as common as the other boots I mentioned, but they were still around, so they're still accurate. However, I will try and get my hands on some double buckles or maybe some rock-out boots. This is all the infantrymen would have had to deal with the cold weather during the Battle of the Bulge. So my pockets are stuffed full of items as well. Anything you can carry, anything you can try to keep warm, you can pick up anything. That's what these soldiers had to deal with, as you can tell from original photographs and reports. So yeah, that's my impression for an infantryman in the 110th Regiment of the 28th Infantry Division during the Battle of the Bulge around December 17th in the area of Wiltz and Clerveaux. That sort of area, the 28th Division spread out thin along the lines, along with the 9th Armoured Division. This is my impression. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.